Hey guys, thanks for pressing play on another Fall Obsession podcast episode. Before we get to our conversation for this one, I want to point you guys in the direction of our website, fallobsession.com, specifically for our 2025 turkey hunt contest. It's extremely simple, it's extremely easy to participate in. You guys can head on over to the website or go to fallobsession.com/hunt-competition. That's where you can find it and enter your turkey from 2025. Or if you haven't killed a turkey yet, you can pre-register there from that webpage. We are accepting turkeys from all over the United States. So wherever your normal turkey hunting ground is, whatever bird you normally hunt and kill in 2025, that's the bird that you can enter. You guys can look on that webpage and see how the scoring system works, how we rank the birds, who's already killed a bird this year. We have some awesome birds that have already hit the ground, and we want you guys to be a part of it. We do ask for statistics like your bird weight, your spur length, your beard length. All that contributes to your score. However, if you are missing a statistic, it's been asked, which is why I'm bringing it up. If you're missing a statistic, don't worry. We will make sure that we assign a fair and equitable point value for that missing number that you have. That way you can still participate in a competition, have a chance to win cash money, gear from Hoot Camo, Wiley X, VP Archery, and all sorts of great organizations like that. And then we also have a couple of different sweepstakes that are running alongside of our turkey hunt competition. Two specifically. One is a gear sweepstakes where we will be selecting multiple different winners to take home a gear package and gear from those same companies I just mentioned. And we are also doing a sweepstakes for a $9,000 safari package from News on Safaris. You can pick up those sweepstakes tickets at registration when you sign up for the contest. Again, it's fallobsession.com/hunt-competition. That's how you can find it and get your turkey entered. While you're over there, you guys can explore around and see everything else that we have going on here at Fall Obsession right there on the website. Go to the YouTube channel, subscribe over there. If you're just catching the audio version of this podcast, you can see the video version drops on Thursdays on the YouTube channel, as well as our hunting shows, our other productions, our films, all the other stuff that we got going on over there. Follow us on social media. If you're on it, we're on it. Make sure that you like and follow over there. Get regular updates and content from our staff members across the country. And make sure you check out Fall Obsession Podcast on Carbon TV. We have 4 different hunting shows that Fall Obsession produces that are on the Carbon platform. This podcast, our staff-inspired video podcast series called Couch Chats, is on there as well. We're about to drop a new episode of that, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's a pretty good one. As well, we also have 2 different hunting shows titled Texas Dirt and Midwest Mindset on there. Guys, go check out Carbon TV. It's free to stream. They don't ask you for any info. You don't even have to set up an account before you start streaming. It is fantastic. And we are going to have a couple of our films, The Steep and Deep and then Flatland Deer Country, that'll also soon be on the Carbon platform. Can't wait for that. Guys, go check out Carbon TV. All right, we're going to kick it off now. Thanks for listening. This is another Fall Obsession podcast.
Oh, you got her, dude. She's down.
Let's go.
Dude, I just shot a deer of a lifetime.
Freaking smoked him.
One with nature, and if you're a believer, one with God.
Definitely gets your heart pumping. Boy, you are in trouble.
Fall Obsession Podcast.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another Fall Obsession podcast. My name is Sam. I'm your host over here. Thanks for tuning in. And I am flying solo once again on the show. Don't turn off the episode. Hang with me. Just bear with me. I hope you guys can listen to some of the stuff that I want to hit on while I got you guys here. Have some important topics, as I have mentioned previously, is my intention whenever I do a solo podcast. I want to talk about something that has some sustenance to it, if you will. And my intention was not to make this a solo podcast. I've talked, if you're a returning listener, you've heard me talk on our show before about just the trials that come with podcasting and also being having a full-time career outside of the hunting industry, family, all that kind of stuff. So long story short, just had a guest that we had to reschedule that was slated for this week. So this is what we're going to keep the train going, keep the momentum going on the show by knocking out another episode. A topic I've been thinking about for a while. And then our normal programming with our guests will be back at it next week. Got an awesome one lining up for you guys next week. I hope you enjoy. But for this week, I wanted to talk about something that is very prominent for us behind the scenes here at Fall Obsession, something that we spend a lot of time working on. And I say we, I'm specifically talking about myself and our staff manager, Todd. We are probably the most saturated in this world of Fall Obsession, if you will. And that's talking about our staff programs and particularly like being brand ambassadors. I actually tried to get Todd kind of last minute on this podcast with you guys. It just didn't work out because, like I said, we had a guest that needed to reschedule. So I reached out to Todd. Schedules just didn't align for us to knock it out real quick. It's fresh on my mind. I got a bunch of stuff written down. I want to go ahead and hit on it while I felt like I could do the topic justice, if you will. And I'm sure this kind of stuff will come up later on down the line when I do have Todd to discuss this with. But I wanted to talk about brand ambassadors. The term brand ambassador, it shouldn't be foreign to anybody at this point, especially if you are just active on social media. You don't even have to be one. You probably have an understanding on what it is. And it doesn't even have to be hunting. Like, there are companies just any and everywhere across the world in whatever industry, like pick one, and they have more than likely some form of brand ambassador program or, like a pro staff, a field staff, that kind of stuff. The way that we structure it here at Fall Obsession is when you come through the door, when you express an interest in joining our organization and being a staffer, quote unquote, you start at that brand ambassador level. We've talked about this on the show before, how at Fall Obsession we preach and really try to, preach is probably not the best word. We really try to cultivate a strong family-oriented culture at Fall Obsession. And what I mean by that is that we as Fall Obsession staff members are a family. Like it's a tight-knit group. You're not just a number in a system, right? And that has just come over a decade of, evolving and refining what this program is and how it works. So, where we are in our process and how things have shaken out right now is, while we do want good quality people to be a part of that tight-knit group, right? We're also a media company, so we also need content creators. We need people who are invested in creating high-quality content for the everyday hunter and outdoorsman, just as we are. That can be in the form of photography, videography, writing articles, filming for others. The hunts. I mean, that's videography, obviously, but you guys get where I'm going with this. You can have a niche. You can have your thing that you in particular are really passionate about and really good at. And we have people that are good at all of those things. One that comes to mind is, and I'll say his name on here, he won't mind, but our staff member up in New York, Ryan, if you go to our website and look at our article section, 90+% of the articles within the last year that you're going to see on that website are written by Ryan. That's his passion. That's his niche. That is his thing, and he's very good at it. He's very good at articulating things, through that avenue. Hey guys, sorry to cut y'all off from the conversation. We'll get back to it in just a second, but first I want to tell you guys about Hoot Camo. Hoot Camo is one of the best camouflage brands out there for the blue-collar hunter. The prices, you can't beat them. The patterns are extremely versatile. They work in so many different environments. I have worn Hoot Camo hunting whitetails, hogs, and turkeys down here in the hardwoods, the mesquites, the scrub brush of Texas. I've worn it in the flatland plains of eastern Colorado hunting mule deer. I've even worn it in the mountains of central Idaho hunting elk. It works in so many different places. It is extremely high quality gear, extremely warm, holds up well against the elements. You cannot beat it. Go to hootcamo.com, use the code FallObsession15 on your next order, no matter how big or small it is, and check out everything that Hoot Camo has on there for you guys. So that's a perfect example of somebody who has a niche. One of our other staffers, Aiden, his photography always stands out to me. Like, he's very good at taking photos. So those are just some examples of how our staffers have excelled and are excelling in different means of content creation. And that in total, because we have around 40 people altogether spread out across the country that work for Fall Obsession in various capacities, that cumulatively gives us the variety that we want to be able to reach you guys, to be able to have the versatility to cover all of these different topics. And that's what initially was the drive to create the first field staff program for me back in 2015. Was I'm from Texas. I have at the time had only hunted Texas. That's where my experience lies. I can talk all day long on, a video or an article or whatever about hunting in Texas, but I want to reach people that aren't in Texas. I want to reach people and have content that's relevant for people in these other parts of the country. So that's what led to us having staff members that are contributing to the platform in educational ways, in relevant ways to you, the viewer, the follower, the consumer, because we want to be all-inclusive, right, when it comes to the material and the subject matter that we at Fall Obsession cover. So, that being said, that's kind of a long way of explaining and getting into the intro here for this podcast, but the starting line now for us is brand ambassador. And from there, there's a progression, right, to where you can go from repping Fall Obsession on your own platforms as a brand ambassador to contributing to our program through the field staff level, and then the pro staff level are those who are just our top-notch creators, in my opinion, and our producers and the people who really do the most for the brand at that level, right? But again, we're looking at the starting line. We're looking at the brand ambassador. I've talked about what it looks like, just, kind of the 10,000 foot view of what it looks like here at Fall Obsession. But where I want to go with this conversation is not to plug our programs necessarily. It's relevant, but that's not my intention with this. I wanted to talk about, just in general terms, especially in the hunting industry, because that's obviously what we're all familiar with here. You're listening to a hunting podcast. I want to talk about what it truly means, or what it should mean to somebody to be an actual brand ambassador. And I'm sorry that I keep looking down if you're watching the podcast video, but I have some notes jotted down here just to keep myself on track. And on here I have a definition of an ambassador, right? Before this episode, I Googled ambassador definition, right? Because I wanted to have the official terminology here that's relevant to what we're talking about. And it's defined as a person who acts as a representative or promoter of a specified activity. So in that, the key word that I want to highlight is representative. When you become a brand ambassador for a company, for a brand in the hunting industry, it doesn't have to be Fall Obsession. I'm talking in general terms right now. You become an extension of that brand. And that's why I want to kind of harp on this and talk about this, because I feel like there are a lot of folks out there, and I'm not trying to discredit them or anything, but we see the good and the bad, right, by having our own program, and Todd sees it more than I do as far as the applications that come in and that he filters through. But there are people out there, I think, that just are looking for like a notch in their belt, if you will, that are trying to just almost have credibility by saturation, if you will. Like you are trying to tie yourself to so many brands out there that, the follower, the consumer, the Instagram hunter, right? They just can't help but pay attention to you because you're just so plugged in and you're repping all these brands, and you're trying to you're trying to use your saturation in the industry, right, to elevate your own position and your own motives and everything, whatever they might be. Too many people chase fame, I feel like. And in the online media world, in the hunting industry, just the amount of people that are trying to do something, right, is just it's so crazy to me. And more power to you. Like, I don't want to give the wrong impression here and make the listener, you guys, feel like I'm dogging on the little guy, because we were that little guy, right, at one point, and to an extent, like, we are still a small fish in a big lake. But like, there are so many people that just they have their name or their last name and they put outdoors on the end of it, and they just start posting online. And it takes a little bit to kind of figure out what you're doing. Everybody has to start somewhere, and that is how most people start. That's how we started. Like, until 5-6 years ago, we didn't, as an organization and as a group, we didn't really know what we were going to turn this thing into, this thing called Fall Obsession. So we all have to start somewhere, and that's where we started, just by getting a group of people together that we called a field staff at that point, and creating content relevant to the everyday hunter. That's where it started from, right? And it has now evolved into a hunting and outdoor media production company. That's what we do, because now it's the podcast, now it's films, now it's hunting shows, still the social media and the staff aspect of it. But anyway, everybody has to start somewhere. Humble beginnings for all of us, and I, for one, am not one that is going to forget where we came from in this industry. What I'm getting at is, one, there's so many people trying to do it that you either have to work for a long time, or you very quickly have to have something that's going to set you apart to be able to kind of be recognized. That's one side of it. And then two, I think there are honest, hardworking people who are taking that approach to it, who are working to find that thing that's unique to them to set them apart, and they're going to succeed. There's also a genre of person out there that wants the discounts, they want the free stuff, they want, and I don't know if fame is the right word for it, but I'm going to use it for lack of a better term. They want the fame. They want to be recognized, right, in the hunting industry. Hey folks, if you guys are in the North Texas area like I am, then you need to go to Bear River Archery and Pro Shop in Van Alstyne, Texas. Justin and the guys up there have an incredible operation set up. They will take great care of you and all of your archery needs. They are the official bow shop in North Texas of Fall Obsession. I love going there, and I'm picky. If you guys know me, I am very selective on who I let work on my bow. I will let Justin work on my bow. They do great stuff. Check out Bear River Archery and let them know that Fall Obsession sent you. But really, like, that's as deep as it gets. It's shallow motives, if you're asking me. We came at this thing as Fall Obsession from the standpoint of, like, yes, it is a functioning business. There is a revenue stream that comes in for Fall Obsession, and that revenue stream keeps the brand going. It keeps the wheels rolling, right? Because you get to a point where you have to spend some money to keep things going. So that, like, yes, it's a functioning business, but I've told every single one of our admin team and any of the staff members that I get a chance to have this conversation with, like, if I never make a dime personally, which, by the way, I still to this day have not, off of Fall Obsession, it's still going to have been worth it. Because at the end of the day, I feel like we are making a greater impact in the hunting community. We are educating others and making a difference in their journey as hunters. We have gotten new people introduced to hunting, which is huge. Like, that alone is worth it. And then on top of that, I talked at the beginning about the family-oriented aspect of our organization here, and being a tight-knit group, through all the ranks, and all the levels. That right there, like, there are people in this organization I would never, and pretty much everybody, I would never have gotten to either meet them, know them at all, or be able to be on the friendship level or family level that I feel like I am with them if it weren't for this brand, right? These are personal relationships and people that I can call friends. I've talked about our staff manager, Todd. If it weren't for Full Obsession, I would never have probably ever met Todd and Heather up in Michigan. I would never know Mike Teepee, the producer of our Midwest Mindset series. I would never know, Chad Jones, our Southern Regional Coordinator down here, Ryan up in New York, who's one of our, one of our best authors, for the platform. So, and there's a ton more I could list. That's just the first names that just popped in my head randomly, but you guys get what I'm saying. This is why we do it. We don't do it for the fame and fortune. I get uncomfortable, if I'm being honest with you, when I get recognized, and it hadn't happened a lot, but when I get recognized as the Full Obsession guy. There has been a couple of occurrences where it has happened. One that comes to mind is like a couple years ago, we were at our local bow shop setting stuff up, setting up a couple new bows, and there we were, on the paper tuning rack or whatever it was, getting them dialed in and everything. And it's just the bow shop that we go to all the time, right? It's not anything fancy. And this dude walks up to, it was me and Nick there. This dude walks up and he's like, "Hey, are you the Full Obsession guys?" And both of us were kind of like, "Oh, this has never happened before," right? So, but we're like, yeah, that's us. He's like, "Oh man, I follow you guys on Instagram. I love your stuff. I listen to the podcast. It's awesome to see you guys here. Awesome to meet you." And shook our hands, and that was the end of the interaction. I just looked at Nick. I was like, "Dude, that was weird." Like, for some people that happens a lot more frequently, but for us, that was the first time, right? And it felt strange because we are just at our normal bow shop doing normal blue collar bow hunter things, setting up a couple of bows, hanging out, whatever, just doing our thing, and something like that happens. So it honestly feels weird. And I could, like, I see the numbers. I know how many folks listen or watch this podcast. And so it's still, to this day, 233 episodes in, it baffles me. It blows my mind that many of y'all want to listen or tune into a show that I'm a part of, right? That still to this day blows my mind. But I'm not here in front of you guys. I'm not recording this episode here today because I want y'all to hear my voice, because I want y'all to know who I am. My name could be irrelevant to this conversation or this discussion as far as I'm concerned. What matters is what I'm talking about here, and the message that we are bringing you week to week on this show, and that goes for any of our shows, any of our series on the platform. So that's my view on it. And getting back on track a little bit, there are people I feel like that are pursuing that fame, that recognition. They look at the big dogs, right, in the industry, the Michael Waddells, the Levi Morgans, the Cam Hanes. They're looking at these staples of the hunting industry, and they're like, "Oh man, it would be so awesome to be like him one day." And man, be you. Like, you don't have to chase someone else's journey or someone else's dream that they have turned into a reality for them, right? You do you. You have your own journey. And one thing that bugs me a little bit is when folks use their relationships in the industry as stepping stones for that journey, right? Trying to reach the next level, make it to the next step. And I realize that relationships come and go, right? You can be tied to a brand for a couple of years or several years, whatever it might be. And then you realize that, hey, maybe this opportunity over here with this other brand is better for me and the phase that I have now entered as an outdoor content creator, for example. And it's time to switch, right? But like I said, it's people that just chase discounts and just chase the name, the tie, the being able to put another brand and another code right in your Instagram bio. Those are the folks that, and again, I'm not trying to rag on anybody, but those are the folks that I don't feel are very authentic, right? Also, coupling that with relationships, I believe that you should tie yourself to brands that you believe in. I don't think that you should just look at it and be like, oh man, Hoot Camo is they got a cool program, a cool affiliate program or brand ambassador program or something, right? I'm gonna go sign up. Have you used Hoot Camo? Have you actually tried it? Have you done your research on the product? Are you a believer in the product before you tied yourself to them? And everybody has a first experience, and maybe for some brands you might not even notice that they are even a thing, that they even exist, until you see something pop up on your feed or whatever, like Brand Ambassadors Wanted. But are you just going to click the apply button, or are you actually going to do your research and try to learn about that brand and what they bring to the table, what they have to offer, what their values as an organization are? Who do they already affiliate and tie themselves to, and are those people that you are okay with your name being associated with as well, right? Have you actually put hands on their products? Have you actually tested them in the field? Do you actually believe in them? Or, again, are you just chasing free gear and free discounts? What is it? So these are the questions that I wish that more people would ask, because these are the things, in my opinion, that truly matter, because you build authenticity, you build quality relationships, long-lasting relationships, when you share the same values, share the same motives, you're willing to grow together, and you actually believe in the products that you're using. And the people that are watching you use them, the people who might actually look at your profile for your discount code so that they can go place an order and give you that little kickback or that royalty that you might get on that sale, whatever they got set up for you, right? Are they actually going to believe you? Or are they looking at you as somebody, again, who's just chasing after a free t-shirt? So again, that just comes down to the authenticity of the matter, right? Authenticity is one of our 4 core values here at Fall Obsession. So that is definitely something that we try to apply to any conversation and any relationship, right? You guys can look at our website. You can look at the shirt and the hat, right, that I'm wearing here on the podcast. And you see other brands listed here, right? Brands that we're affiliated with. But I'm not affiliated with Bear River Archery or Wiley X Eyewear just because they offered me a sweet deal, right? Hey guys, Trophy Edits is a Fall Obsession podcast partner. We all have mounts on our walls that represent a significant moment, a significant harvest in the woods for each and every one of us, and photographs can do the same. I'm sure you guys have pictures from years past, hunting with loved ones or being in the woods with family and friends that also represent those big moments. And what Trophy Edits does is they showcase those moments for you guys. Just absolutely make your pictures explode and to the level that you guys can put them on the wall and also have that memory forever represented in your home, your office, your man cave, whatever it might be. Give Trophy Edits a chance to do the work for you guys. And again, they make those pictures just absolutely awesome with their professional team of editors. So go to Trophy Edits website. The link is in the podcast description. That lets them know that you guys came from us, and use the code FALLOBSESSION at checkout to save you guys some money. With Bear River, Nick, our production director here, and he is occasionally on a podcast with me. He vetted their shop. He had multiple conversations with Justin, their owner. Justin worked on Nick's bows before we were ever affiliated with them. We vetted the shop. And likewise, Justin kind of vetted us. He's looking at our social media, presence and everything and seeing, okay, can these guys truly offer me kind of the promotion that they say that they can? Then Nick brings me into the loop, and I start talking to Justin, and I'm vetting Justin and vetting the quality of the work. And you guys know me, I'm picky about archery equipment. Like, I'm very selective in who I let touch my stuff. So that is what happened before we ever had a relationship with them. I met the marketing team and everybody from Wiley X at a trade show and actually put hands on the eyewear, and then leaned on, I had not, prior to that trade show, I personally had never purchased a pair of Wiley X glasses, but I knew people that had, people on our own team that had. And so I'm talking to them, hey, can I actually look at your glasses? Can I actually pick them up, hold them in my hand, and can you tell me what you think of them? These are the conversations I have before I ever say, yeah, let's talk. So, and I could give you guys an example for every single one of your partners, but I hope that what I'm talking about kind of paints the picture, paints the picture for you guys on exactly how hard we work to make sure that our relationships are authentic. And that goes back down to, going back again to our brand ambassadors, right? Our application process is so much more detailed, in my opinion, than other brands. There are bigger brands out there that cannot have probably the same level of hands-on approach that we do. But as big as we grow, whatever's in store for us down the line, my intention is to build our staff, our staffer program staff, if you will, like our managers and our coordinators, and I'm going to build that out to the point where we can be as hands-on as possible. Because Todd is a very, very hands-on staff manager. Todd interacts and talks with every single one of our staff members and our brand ambassadors and everyone. He is very personable with everyone, and I give him kudos for it. Like, it takes a lot of time and effort, and he is outstanding at it. And likewise, that trickles down to our regional coordinators, who are very hands-on and interactive with the people in their part of the country that they're responsible for. So we try to have that hands-on approach with everybody to, again, that's what cultivates that culture of that family and that tight-knit group and everything, and being close with one another, actually getting to share camp with one another. We'll keep that going as long as we possibly can here at Fall Obsession, and my intention is that that's always what you get as part of being, a staff member with us. But likewise, our vetting process, our application process is very, very detailed. It's more than just applying, and we'll take a look at your socials. Okay, yeah, you got X amount of followers. Sounds good. Here's your discount codes. You're all set. Give us a post a month, whatever that is. So much more than that. Yes, we do those things. We look at you. We look at your social media pages. We see, okay, this is the quality of content that this guy's putting out or this girl's putting out. This is what we think they could bring to the table. This is what we like. And if everything's checking out and checking those boxes, then we move you on to an actual interview. And you get to sit in a room, virtual, right? Because everything's virtual right now. We can't all physically be in the same room, but we all get to sit there face to face on camera and interact with one another and have a conversation. We have a meeting with this person, and we talk to them, and just kind of, again, go through everything with them and figure out, okay, what are your goals? What do you want to do in this industry? What interests you about this program? Why do you want to be involved? And then likewise, you can ask us questions from there. You can talk to us and understand, kind of why we're doing this and how things work and everything, and what you as a brand ambassador can expect from the brand, right? Very personable aspect of this process, to where, I feel like there's other companies that either they're too big or they just don't offer something like this. And we definitely try to have that personable aspect to it. And I think that's very valuable. So we try to start everybody off on the right foot and understanding those values and the need for that authenticity and everything. I think that's very, very important. But that's the expectation, that's the goal, right? The reality, and I've already talked a little bit about kind of what in general terms is out there today. You have the people who are authentic, who are going about it and working hard and trying to do this the right way and build relationships. And then you have people who will be the first one to burn a bridge and a relationship over, a 20 versus a 30% discount, right? Who are just hopping around, brand hopping from one to the other. So not to dwell on that any longer, I'm just, look at your own values, look at your own motives behind why, if you are one of those people who is a brand ambassador, why are you tying yourself to these companies? Like all the questions I mentioned earlier, do you actually believe in what they're doing? Have you actually tried their products? Are they products that you're going to use for a long time? What are your motives as you move forward? Are you tying yourself to brands that are going to help you grow like you can help them grow? Or are you looking for stepping stones to get you somewhere, whatever that might be? Those are kind of rhetorical questions, I guess. But I want to talk about representation. I have that written down here in my notes from the ambassador side. We're going to talk about this from both the ambassador side and the brand side, and then we're going to wrap it up. From the ambassador side, like I mentioned briefly earlier, you are an extension of that brand. You are an extension of an organization that has brought you into their circle as somebody that they trust to represent them. You need to own that, and you need to do so appropriately. Part of it falls back on the brand a little bit because they as well need to do their vetting to ensure that any individual is somebody that they want to associate themselves with. But remember that whatever you put online, whatever you put on, Facebook, Instagram, your own website, perhaps your TikTok, videos you create, things that you say, comments that you, post on somebody else's feed, all that reflects on that brand. If that brand's name is right next to yours, right? If your name right under it says brand ambassador for Fall Obsession, well, guess what? Anytime that you comment on something, that reflects on everyone else that is a part of Fall Obsession. We've been very fortunate that we have only had a couple of isolated instances where we've had previous staff members that did not represent us well, in our opinion, right? And we have ended our affiliation with them because of it, or gone to that point, right? And that's the extreme. But when you are saying things and talking to people out there in the world, people that might not even know you in person, right? They might just be following you because you post cool stuff. Well, whatever you say is also going to reflect on the quality of person or the kind of person that brand chooses to associate, and it reflects on that brand's reputation. And at the end of the day, you can think, well, man, if I say something that, ticks off the brand themselves, the company that I'm representing, or they don't like what I say, then good riddance. They can leave anyway. I don't want to be I'm going to say what I want to say. If they don't like it, then they can move on, right? That is a mentality to have. But there's a line between, freedom of speech and being able to give your opinion, your honest and true opinion, and being respectful. Because normally the people, in my opinion, that are bad mouthing other people or saying things that reflect ill on a brand, they equally as much reflect ill on themselves. And normally it gets to the point where it reflects ill on just the hunting community in general. And then we can get into a whole nother conversation, if we wanted to, about, representing just hunting and the outdoor lifestyle well, and appropriately and not giving the anti-hunting community anything to bite off on. Podcast 220 is just about anti-hunting and that whole dynamic and everything. So I'm going to stop right there and not go down that rabbit hole. If you want to hear me talk about that, go listen to 220. But you guys get what I'm saying. Like, what you have to say out there, what you put online, it's out there for the whole world to see, and it reflects on that brand. Be mindful of that. Because, yes, like I just said, you can have your stance on, man, if they don't like what I have to say, good riddance to them, right? But if you are consistently saying stuff to the point where you keep losing brand after brand after brand after brand, like, the hunting community seems big, but it's also very small. I just talked with our last guest, Josh McKenzie, about that. He said something along those lines. It's smaller than you think. A lot of people know a lot of other people, and brands, if a brand is truly doing their research on a brand ambassador candidate or somewhere along those lines, they're going to look at that history. And they're going to figure it out. They'll be like, man, why is this guy or this girl associated with this brand for 2 months and then this brand for 3? And like, they're going to see that track record and they'll be like, that's just going to be a retention question on their part. Like, hey, what is the grass always greener, or what's going to keep you here or keep you representing us? Is it really going to be worth it for us? So eventually that catches up to somebody, in my opinion. There is a way, in my opinion, to still, stand true to your personal values or opinions and still represent those that you represent respectfully and appropriately, right? And that's a balance you as a person have to figure out for yourself. Likewise, I'm going to flip the table over to our standpoint, right? From the brand standpoint, you have to do your job in vetting folks, in my opinion, because for the exact same reasons, what they say, do, post, that reflects on the brand as well. So the brand and the people that are involved in that process from that side of things need to do their due justice. If you have an organization or, you are trying to affiliate your name, your page, whatever it might be, with other people out there, you're trying to go down that road, be careful who you choose. Don't just take anybody that'll walk through the door, because you're going to find that you end up having to filter a lot of stuff out. You end up having to filter a lot of people out, or people are going to flake a whole lot more. If you truly want those people who want to stick with you and what you believe in, and not just use you and your growth to help them grow, but they want to grow with you, because there's a difference. There's a huge difference. I'm going to say that again. There is a difference between somebody trying to use a brand's growth to help them grow and both ambassador and brand working to grow together. Recognizing that one another both have things that the other can use. A brand ambassador has a reach, a following, an audience that the brand might not, right? And that's valuable to a brand. And likewise, the brand has resources and opportunities that brand ambassador does not, right? That recognition and being able to work together to grow mutually, that builds a lasting relationship. But when you're just looking, like I've mentioned this whole episode, for that t-shirt, for that discount code, that stepping stone until something more attractive comes along, you're going to find yourself caught in this little whirlwind where you're going in circles, and it's hard to get out of that. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the show. Hope you guys are enjoying it. There's so many different places that you guys can tune in to Fall Obsession Podcast, and one of them is the Outdoor Call radio app. Outdoors Dan from Respect the Game TV, he created an app that you can download on any device where you can stream hunting shows and podcasts on a loop every single day. Our show, Fall Obsession Podcast, plays on that loop on Mondays. That's the same day as our new publications on the other apps. And there's also tons of other hunting shows and podcasts on there that you guys can listen to. Go download the Outdoor Call Radio app today. It is free. You can start streaming immediately. And be sure that you follow their Facebook page, because Outdoors Dan does some live radio shows throughout the week. And even if you are not local to those radio stations, his broadcasts are shared on his Facebook Live. It's Outdoors Dan and the Outdoor Call Radio app. Go download it today. So be careful who you select, from both sides of it. If you are involved on the brand side, be selective in your process. Look for those individuals that have the qualities and the, not just the numbers in followers, but they have the qualities that you're looking for in an individual that's going to represent your brand. And for brand ambassadors, like I said, do your research. Actually look for these companies that don't just have an opportunity that's interesting to you, but you actually believe in what that brand is doing, the products they are putting out, and you can bring a sense of authenticity to your audience. It's a whole lot more believable if you actually do enjoy using these products, right? If you actually use them and apply them in the field, right? Opposed to, you're just doing it for the t-shirt. So, looking at my notes here, guys, and I don't want to just keep talking in circles or beating a dead horse. I feel like I've hit on a lot of the things that I wanted to hit on for the purpose of this conversation. You get what you put into it, right? Just like anything else. If you are working hard to build your own name, your own brand, whatever you're out there grinding and trying to do, if you're putting in the work and putting in the effort, you're going to see a return on that investment at some point, right? For some, it may be sooner rather than later, just depending on, what genre of this industry you're in, what exactly you're doing to help yourself grow and develop, and the relationships that you're nurturing and cultivating along the way, and which ones of those you're sustaining and which ones aren't working out, right? There's so many different variables that come into it. But at the end of the day, as a brand ambassador, represent the organization that you're tied to and the hunting community respectfully and well. Like, that's what it boils down to. If you can stick to that, if you can just paint hunting in a good light and paint that brand in a good light, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Like, if you can cut out the last 40 some odd minutes or however long we've been going and just leave it at that, that's the message to take away from this episode, is be respectful and represent them professionally and well. That's all I got for this solo podcast. Thank you guys for sticking with me for another one. I hope you guys got something out of it. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, make sure that you guys are subscribed to all the stuff, following us on all the platforms, all the pages. We always appreciate that. That's how you guys can help us grow without spending a single penny with us, is just by hitting the like and follow button. We always appreciate that. Listening to the podcast, watching the videos, subscribe to the YouTube, all that kind of stuff. That's a $0 investment in any brand or content creator that you enjoy watching, listening to, you want to support. Like I said, $0 investment. Go make it in anybody out there that's grinding and doing good work. Thank you for listening to another Fall Obsession podcast. I'm back with you guys again next week. Catch you then.